Hello everyone, welcome to my new video. This video we are going to talk about an old workstation, that is the workstation from HP, the HP Z440. Workstation class computers are rising as a solution for professionals, creators and users that demand high performance computing to fulfill their professional requirements. Today workstations, depending on the actual market trends and hardware availability, does not always offer anymore the best price performance relation for end users. This video will review an HP Z440 workstation and analyze how these old workstations models could be proposed as a budget-friendly solution when computing power is needed. Scalability, performance, and price will be compared with newer workstations models and self-built computer. So stay in the video if you are interested. So let's start this video defining what is a workstation. A workstation, as I said in my last video, is a device or is a computer that allows you, the end user, to do your job. If you have some work to do and you have a device, you have a computer in this case, that allows you to fulfill the requirements of to do your job, then it's considered already a workstation. Why do I mention this? Because before, in the past, computers, so-called workstation, were actually designed and created for more specific uses that, for example, engineers, scientists, filmmakers, that the requirements that they need in order to fulfill their jobs, they were quite heavy computing wise. But today, creators, every person that needs to do a job and requires a computer, a device that is reliable enough to do it, is already considered a workstation. Nowadays we have mainly 4 workstations manufacturers in the world. Those are Dell, HP, Lenovo, and briefly in the last maybe 2 years, Apple is also in the market of workstations with the iMac Pro and with the Mac Pro. But mainly we have these 3, Dell, HP, and Lenovo. The HP Z440 is not from the newest generation of HPC workstation. It's actually a little bit old. It is from 2015. But in today's video, we are going to discuss how and why this workstation, even if they are quite old, 6 years already, 5 years already circulating, how could they still worth it in 2021? Yeah. HPC workstations mainly developed three models. Those are the four models. Those are the HPC 200 series, the 400 series, the 600 series, and the 800 series. If you watch my YouTube channel, I already made a video talking about the biggest of them, the HPC 840 workstation. And for today's video, we are going to review the medium model, which is the HPC 440 from the 400 series. This HPC workstations model, they were manufactured with mostly 2 concepts in mind. Those are reliability and future proofing. And you will say, but Jorge, why you are reviewing one computer that is 5 years, 6 years old already? It doesn't worth it anymore. But the thing is now, today in 2021, with this conflict that we are having now about high prices of graphics cards, high prices of any hardware components, it's not really easy and it's not really cheap to get your hands in high-end components, even if you require them to do your job and you have no availability, and there's no availability and you have no access to such components like high-end graphics card, high-end CPUs, or at least the newest CPU models from Intel, from AMD, there is no way to get your hands on them, at least not paying the fair price that the market was before. So the use of old components of old workstation can really be proposed as a solution in order to fulfill these computational requirements that you have as a professional. That's the motive, that's the motivation why I'm doing this video, because even if you don't believe it, these old workstations are made incredible and they are amazing, and even today they can offer you a very good performance for almost any task that you are going to do. So that's why I'm reviewing this, and that's why I'm making this video, because I think it's worth it, and because of the problem that we're having in the market right now. And this can be a very good solution for you if you are in the market looking right now for a workstation or to build yourself a workstation. Let's talk now about the exterior design. The HP Z440, same as the other bigger brother, the HP Z840, it's a very robust model. They are made from steel and aluminum inside. The cover here is plastic, and this is very strong plastic. And the whole internal chassis is made of pure steel and aluminum, which is very strong, it's very robust. It's not a lightweight computer, that needs to be clear. This is not like your usually lightweight mini computer that you can just put on your desk and expect a few kilograms of weight, but actually it's very handy because you have these handhelds in order to transport it in the front and in the back, which is pretty useful. You have in the front two 5.25 inch drive bays. You can here install DVD players, any drive bay that you want to use that accepts the 5.25 inch base size. Here I have a 15.1 HP SD card reader, which is very useful. It's USB 3.0. And here in the front we have the power button. This is very important, and actually this is a pretty cool thing from HPC workstations. It has 4 front USB 3.0 USB ports. It's not 3.1, it's not 3.2, there is no USB-C. You need to remember this was 2015, and anyhow, until today, 4 front USB ports, it's very good to have. There is always a lot of connectivity, and this is very good to have. You have as well headphone jack and microphone input jack, which is very good. Here, this is all open, and here you can install as well the front chassis fans of HP. It's quite simple, the front design, but I think looks very minimalistic. I think looks very professional. This DAC design I think looks pretty good and should be no problem in a combination with your desk setup. Yeah, so in the rear part, as I said, here in the top we have the handheld. Now we have the power supply here. It's a normal power supply, 700 watts. And then we have two USB 2.0. We have a power switch here, which is internal. If it is mounted in a rack and you just have access from behind, then you can always press here in order to power it up. You have two USB 2.0. You have 4 USB 3.0. You have an Gigabit Ethernet. You have as well your headphone jack and your microphone input. This model of HP Z440 workstations, they allow one processor, which are the series Intel Xeon E5 2600 series B3 and B4 with a BIOS update, and they can also allow the use of Intel Xeon's E5 1600 series B3 and B4 as well. This CPU can go up to 22 cores, 22 cores and 44 threads with the Intel Xeon E5 2699 B4. They are maybe not the highest in frequency, but they can go up to, with turbo boost, up to 3.6 GHz. With 22 cores, I think is pretty much okay for anyone. And then we have memory RAMs. We have eight DIMMs for a quad channel configurations, and it can support this model up to 256 gigabytes of memory RAM with 32 gigabytes modules. Very important, the HPC workstations, they only accept registered ECC memory. This model can go up to 2400 megahertz memory RAM with the Intel Xeon B4 series. And then for PCI Express, we have one PCI Express version 2. It was already old in that, I mean, this already old computer, but for compatibility reasons with the older models and older devices back in 2015, it still has a PCI Express generation 2 by 4. And then we have a PCI Express 3.0 by 16. And then we have down in the next slot, we have a PCI Express 3.0 by 8. After that, we have a PCI Express 3.0 by 4. And then we have another PCI Express 3.0 by 16. And at the bottom, we have a PCI Express 3.0. Yeah, we have an old generation PCI Express. This is the bottom one is the oldest PCI Express generation, and this was made because as well of compatibility of some users back in those days. But it's actually pretty good, and it allows up to 2 high-end graphics cards with the 700 powers, with the 700 watts power supply. That's why I mentioned it's very important to have. If you want to have this model, you need to get it with the 700 watts power supply in order to supply power to high-end graphics cards. Because it only has 2 PCI Express 6-pin connectors, but every one of these cable can support up to 150 watts. So with one cable, you can power up a high-end graphics card up to 250 watts approximately. In my case, I have here an NVIDIA Quadro K6000 with 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory and 2888 CUDA cores, which until today is a pretty nice graphics card. Stay tuned in my videos. I will review this graphics card in depth in the next videos, and then I will give you a very good reason why the Quadro K6000 is still a very good graphics card in 2021. For storage, we have 2 main 3.25 base inches for SATA hard drives, but it can support up to 4 SATA drives and 2 other SATA devices. For example, if you have here DVDs, or you have 2 bays that require SATA, you have still plenty connections. So all in all, it's a very good workstation from the inside. From the outside, it supports a lot of hardware, and even in 2021, the scalability of this machine is incredible. I mean, in 2018, 2019, 2020, people was talking about 32 gigabytes of memory RAM, 64 gigabytes of memory RAM. If you watch Linus Tech Tips, for example, he goes insane some days, and it's pretty normal to install for him 256 gigabytes of memory RAM. But as I say, this was 2015, and you already could install in a very compact workstation form factor 256 gigabytes of memory RAM and up to 22 cores, which is pretty impressive, to be honest, for a small computer and from 2015. So this computer was made with 2 main concepts, as I said before. It was future-proof and reliability. This computer, I can tell you, is very reliable. I work with workstations since approximately 12 years. I started working with workstations. I work with HP Z workstations models, with the newest workstations model of HP, with Dell Precision workstations. I worked as well very intensive with Lenovo ThinkStations, and one of the ones that I like more, I mean, my favorite workstation model is the HP Z440. I already said it in my latest video, in my last video. But this small guy, actually, I use it in my every day as well. I use it for almost every task that I need, because my HP Z440 is usually doing some simulations and computing very high-end stuff for my research. So this is the guy that I use almost every day. I change graphics cards when I need it. It's very, very future-proof. As I said, until today, I use it without problems. I use it to video edit with DaVinci Resolve. I use it for 3D design with SolidWorks and with CATIA as well. I use it as well for 3D for engineering simulations with Abacus and with ANSYS. No problems. The implementation of Quadro graphics card is amazing with the drivers as well. HP and the HP performance advisors. This is like a kind of all-in-one performance optimizer advisors from HP. It can be only installed in HP Z workstations, and it communicates perfect with the hardware. If you have official supported hardware from HP and HP Z workstations, it can give you a set of very different options to choose for your software, and it communicates with every almost professional software that you can imagine. Let's talk about why this computer how you can justify the use of these computers. Nowadays, I think we already know there is a huge decay in market availability of high-end computer hardware because of gaming 1-2 years ago, because of the electronic sports. It raises the prices of almost every gaming computer hardware. But now, because of this mining history, that people is buying graphics cards and gaming hardware in order to mine, because it's very profitable to use graphics cards for mining, for example, today. And this is affecting a lot the market availability of workstation, of high-end CPUs, of high-end mainboards, or high-end graphics cards. And there is a lot of people, maybe you are one of those, that they just want to get a nice computer to make videos, to edit videos, to do your architectural designs, to do as engineering simulations or engineering designs, and you cannot find any nice computer because everything is sold out. There's no availability. The point of this video is you can take a look back to all these old models, and they are very cheap. You can find them in eBay. For example, I'm living in Germany. Here in eBay Germany, you can find them as well, very cheap. I cannot even imagine how cheap are they in United States and in US dollars, cheaper than here. And you can find a very good model, like with the highest end components, maybe for 1,200 US dollars, and which is very good. And you will say, Jorge, but this is a 6-year-old computer. Is it going to work after 1-2 years? I can assure you, is it going to work? There's the very robust computers. Components are just amazing, and they are made to work. They are future-proof from HP, and maybe you cannot get your hands in a newest AMD 16 cores CPU, but maybe you can get your hands in an 18 core Intel Xeon for maybe 1/3 of the price. Instead of paying $700-800 US for the CPU, you can pay $200 US dollars in eBay, which is going to give you an amazing performance. Maybe not the same as the newest technology, but hey, it's an amazing computer. You can edit your videos with no problems, with a nice graphics card, with a nice CPU, and in a very small form factor, which allows you to be expandable. It's very easy, the setup of these computers, and I can only recommend these kind of models to you. So let's go now with the conclusions of this video. Why workstations are still worth it after so many years? Because they were made with the concept of being future-proof. Because the scalability offer in those years is still worth in 2000 after all these years, and it's going to be still worth maybe 2-3 years more. And then is the question, should you get yourself an HP Z440? I can always say, if you are not going to game, then yes, it's an amazing computer. I can only recommend this model to you. The scalability is amazing. The compatibility of 2 graphics cards is just as well amazing. The drive-based plug and play is also very good. The support of PCI Express NVMe drives is also very good. I can only recommend it to you if your objective is not to game 100% of the machine. Why? Because the CPUs available for this computer model, they are not the highest in frequency, and you are going to be for games at least bottlenecked by your CPU speed. Then you will ask, but Jorge, it is more effort for me to get a bare-bone computer like this, or a maybe pre-built eBay cheap model, than scatter myself parts for a new computer. I can always recommend, if you find a good deal in eBay, for example, you can buy them. I think in United States you can buy them already by 100 US dollars, and then maybe a good CPU you pay for one good CPU here you pay maybe 150 US dollars. For memory RAM, registered ECC memory RAM is pretty cheap. I think you can get a very good deal of this, and then you just need to put the graphics card here that you need. If you are a real professional, and if you're an engineer, or if you can take really advantage of Quadro graphics card, I can always recommend you as well to get you a graphics card, even if you're a gamer, but you also do professional work with 3D application, for example. A Quadro graphics card is always a good choice. The newest model of Quadro, they are insanely overpriced, so unless you really need them and you can afford the price of a new Quadro graphics card, buy it. Otherwise, you can always get something like the Quadro K6000, the Quadro K1005, the Quadro K5200, for example, is a very good option as well and very cheap. So I can only recommend to you this model. If you are looking for a workstation that is in a small form factor and it can be very powerful, not investing a lot of money, go for it. HP Z440 is for you. So I hope you like this video. I tried to make it as interactive for you as I could, and interesting for you as well. I know that these are not the newest model of computers, but believe me, I have a lot of experience in gaming computers, in building myself computers, in workstations. It is an amazing device, and it's going to never let you down, and it's very cheap. Today is very cheap. You will never have problems to find spare parts or cheap processors or cheap memory RAM sticks for this kind of models, because they are old servers and no one wants them anymore, and that's why you can now take advantage and opportunity of the very low prices of these resources and take it and use it for you in your advantage. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you are building a small office and you want something reliable for your people, for your friends, for the people who is working with you together. Get one of these computers and you will not regret it. And they are very cheap. And if you have any problem with, you can just with 20 US dollars, with 10 US dollars, you can buy a new CPU for this computer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like it, and see you until the next time.